Everyone has the right link, right?
Yes, they do.
Habib, you've joined as an attendee.
I was
Welcome.
checking to see they have the right link.
Welcome, people who are joining. We're just waiting a couple of minutes just to make sure everybody else can join too. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, just 2-3 more minutes, just to make sure everybody can log on and join. Okay, great. More and more people are beginning to join. I'll just give it another 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, we had quite a few signups, but I think we're just going to kick off because it is now 5 past, and we want to make sure that we get through all the content and allow for questions. We'll also share a recording of this webinar and the slides for anyone. So welcome everybody who's joined. Really excited to have you on this webinar, and really excited that you will be applying for the Impact at Scale Labs. So the purpose of this webinar is to support you to write your proposal and make sure that you submit all the necessary documents alongside your proposal by the 4th of April, which is the deadline for the Impact at Scale Labs. So before I jump in, just briefly want to introduce myself and Habib and Purnima, who are on the call. So my name is Kieran. I'm the Senior Manager for the Impact at Scale Labs at GSF, and sort of managing the project. I'll hand over to Habib.
Hi, my name is Habib. I'm Impact and Innovation Manager. I work with Kieran on the Impact at Scale Labs. Purnima.
Hi all, my name is Purnima. I am also an Impact and Innovation Manager, and I work alongside Kieran and Habib.
Thanks, guys. Habib, could you just move to the next slide for me, please? Okay, agenda-wise, so we're just going to do about a 20-minute presentation on sort of best practice. So Habib will take you through the majority of it, and then we wanted to allocate lots of time for a Q&A. So we have a Q&A option if you want to just write your questions. So just, feel free to write your questions. Alternatively, please just click on the kind of little raised hand button, which should be on your bottom left on the screen, and we will unmute you and you can ask your question. Habib, could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so I think we've had lots of questions just generally around what we're looking for. So I just wanted to clarify exactly what we're looking for and just sort of demystify some of the language that we put in the application pack. So first off, we ask for the innovations that you're applying with to be post proof of concept. And essentially all this means is any evidence obtained from a pilot project. So we don't want you to come in with just an idea. We want you to have gone out and proven that perhaps this is working. So you've tested it out in a classroom or two or more, and you can demonstrate that the individuals using the innovation, there is buy-in from them, they use it, and it's also useful in terms of their learning outcomes. So the objective of why we want post proof of concept is because we're supporting with preparation for scale. We're not sort of building out an idea, where we're supporting the later stages of that. So we do require that it is post proof of concept. We will be releasing a short video around sort of breaking down and demystifying proof of concept a bit more. So just watch out for that. Also with a POC, you're not only collecting just user feedback, you're also collecting insights from team members, including the individuals that will deliver the product, and this is just essentially to help to sort of mitigate unforeseen risk. So we would like to also hear, not just from the user, but the team wise, what's delivery been like, and has it been successful from their eyes. So that is essentially what we mean by post proof of concept. In terms of the second thing that we're looking for is the beneficiary. So I think we initially had sort of put this as the user in the application pack, but we have since changed that to the beneficiary. And essentially the student or the child needs to be the beneficiary. So, we need to be making sure that we're impacting them and they're improving their learning outcomes. And this can be through projects that perhaps are aimed at teachers. So, sort of teacher training, etc. But you must also demonstrate, if you're doing a teacher training project, then you must also demonstrate that this is, affecting learning in your school as well. The children learning outcomes are improving. And finally, it must fit with the theme of learning recovery post-COVID-19. So if you attended our previous webinar, and if you kind of read through the application pack, how we look at learning recovery post-COVID-19, because it is vast, is through sort of 3 learning levers, which is teacher effectiveness, learner preparedness and engagement, and technology. So these concepts are broken down further in the application pack and in the previous webinar, which there is a recording. But if you have any specific questions about these learning levers, please do ask them. Okay, Habib, could you move to the next slide for me? Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about sort of tackling the application pack. So we've developed a kind of quick 3-step approach to completing your proposal. The first is to plan, the second is to write, and the third is to review. So I'm going to hand over to Habib now to run through our steps.
Thank you, Kieran. So the first stage is of the plan exercise is getting yourself ready, and this is where you start with reading the application pack. I'm sure a lot of us have already gone through the application pack. We've tried so much to put in as much information into the application pack as possible. And so reading the application pack properly would provide the initial guidance you need to plan your application. So the most important page on the application pack for writing your proposal is the proposal outline on page 22 to 23, where you find all the questions we're hoping you could answer when submitting your application. It's important that we also highlight that we don't need to follow all the questions one after the other, but they should give you a sense of responses we'd like to see. The next stage would be to create an outline based on your own guidelines, right? This is like based on how you wish to present your ideas, your proof of concept and innovation to us. So you make your outline in a separate document. There's no application form. So all you need to do is create a separate document on your desktop and then fill out the responses that you like to send to us according to the outline that you've created. Again, you don't need to answer all the questions, just answer the questions that are relevant to your innovation, and that covers largely the criteria that we're using to score the application. The final part is checking the submissions checklist. Beyond your application, you probably have to send one or two other documents, depending on whether you're a member, you're currently a member, or you're yet to become a member of GSF. So you should go through the submission checklist. It's meant to guide you in ensuring you submit all the required documents or items we need to see to proceed with the application. So the next stage is for you to write your application. Here we've compiled like 8 major topics we want to hear in your proposal. The first is the general description. Here we are looking at you sharing with us what the problem you're trying to solve is. Of course, there's a general problem, there's a general theme that we're looking for, but this problem might be different in our local situation. So we need to have a clear understanding of how you're trying to solve the problem, what kind of problem you're trying to solve, and we'd also like to see a theory of change, which essentially articulates what you're doing to the outcomes you're hoping to achieve. And this is going to make it really clear to us what you're trying to do. The next stage is describing your innovation in detail. We want you to go into a deep dive into how your innovation works, what stage it currently is, who the target audience is, and how it does benefit the beneficiary. Remember, Kiran mentioned that the beneficiary has to ultimately be the child or the student. So whether you're creating a new technology or you're training teachers or you're training schools, you're providing financing, the ultimate, you need to show very clearly how this affects the learning outcomes of the beneficiaries, which are the kids, the students who have suffered from the learning loss. So remember, again, there has to be a connection between your innovation and the innovation you've implemented and the learning outcomes of the beneficiaries. Right. The next step is scalability, right? The impact at scale out is essentially about scaling. How do we move these ideas into a wider audience, or how do we increase the amount of benefits for the current beneficiaries? So we want to know how important scale is to you and what your plan towards growth is at the moment. So just share that with us. During the labs, we'll be working with you to improve on that strategy, but we'd like to see what you're currently thinking, how you're thinking about it, and the infrastructure that you might have set up to accomplish it. The next step is the business model. The business model could be for the organization running the innovation. So we recognize that some innovation might not necessarily be set up to have a specific business model, but we need to be able to see that the organization is sustainable, especially to implement these ideas on a large scale. We recognize that it takes a long time to scale an important idea. So we like to see that you have the capacity and the sustainability to attack the problem as a whole. So the rest of the 4 are the organizational structure. how is the organization currently set up to run this idea? What is the model you're currently pursuing? Are you a non-profit? Are you a for-profit? What's your how does the innovation align with your organization structure, right? Are you well set up to pursue the ideas that you're currently working on? We'd like to see a proper connection between your expertise and the innovation you're trying to set up. Next is the leadership and commitment. We'd like to see how much you've actually committed to solving this problem. And essentially, this means what people have been set up to implement the ideas. How much resources have you committed to solving this problem, and generally how important this problem is to your organization. Now you'll be able to see that through how you set up a team to pursue the specific problem. The next is the evidence. We want to see what, again, as we mentioned earlier, the proof of concept is necessary mostly because we want to see that the innovation works. So your evidence is you sharing with us why you think the innovation works, what data you've derived from your test, from your proof of concept, from all the time you've been running the solution that shows that this has sufficiently or convincingly improve the learning outcomes of students, especially to recover from the COVID-19 learning loss. And finally is the compliance. We want to be sure that you have all the required documents to run as an organization and to operate in the area in which you're currently targeting. So these are the 8 topics we want to see in your proposal. And yeah. So I'd like to run through the submission checklist again and how they differ between the members and non-members. So after creating your application and writing out all the topics you'd like to see, you need to go back to the submission checklist before you submit. So for non-GSF members, you should export your application as a document, and then we have a specific portal for you to apply for the Impact at Scale Labs. This requires you also filling out your application form to join GSF, because this is a prerequisite to joining the labs. So that means you need to complete your membership form and the signed membership agreement. All these are available on the website, especially if you click through the link that is provided on the landing page of the Impact at Scale Labs. Then during that application, you need to upload your logo, your certificate of incorporation or like thereof, your child protection policy, and then you should also submit 2 referees who can vouch for the work that you currently do. For us, we'd like to see that maybe one of these referees could be a funder or a partner or a fellow school operator. So yeah, so look out for that. That's it for the non-GSF members. Again, you have to fill out the membership form and sign and upload the signed membership agreement. Then there's a space for you to upload your Impact at Scale Labs application. Then your logo, the certificate of incorporation, the child protection policy, and 2 referees. One thing I'd like to mention is that for the Impact at Scale Labs application, remember you're adding the CVs of your internal M&E partner and your project leader, right? So it's not just, along with the PDF, you have to attach the CVs, those CVs to it. Like you just copy it right into the document. So you're uploading a single document because there's just space for one. So just copy and paste the CV of the internal M&E partner and the project leader in the minimum. Then if you have a letter of support from, let's say, the government or any other partner who you feel could support your application, maybe provide evidence of the work that you've done with them in the past. That's an extra way of verifying how well your organization works. Yeah, and it's the same thing for the submissions checklist for the GSF members. So along with your application, include the CV of your internal M&E partner and project leader, and then the letter of support from government or other scale partners if you have that. For GSF members, we already have your membership form and the other items in the non-GSF checklist, but you should upload your certificate of incorporation along with your application. We currently do not have this for members, and this is necessary for the labs, especially because we need winners would have to receive funding at some point. Finally, the financials, right? We've had a few questions about how to represent your financials. At the moment, we do not need the entire, the detailed budget of financials. We need just a summary like this, and we've put a sample here for you. So basically, you're providing a quick summary of how much it takes to implement a solution. If you're generating revenue, you should quickly highlight this through how much you're paying, and yeah, just give us a quick insight into what your costs and your revenue is. We'd like to have an idea of how much you're spending to implement and how many people you're spending this on. So this is important, right? It gives us the right context into what your cost structure is and how well we'll be able to support your organization. So you could include any other detail that shows that you're safe financially to continue to implement the ideas. Finally, before you submit, it's important you review your submission again. So you should have one or two other people go through this application to provide a third or fourth eye to your application, so you could cover any mistakes that you might make. Then go through the submission checklist again and ensure you have all the documents. We've had questions about application stage 1 and application stage 2. For documents, for submission checklist, you do not need to submit any of the items under stage 2, right? What you need to do is ensure that you have them in preparation for stage 2 if you qualify for that. For the application proposal, the parts that are said scored in stage 2 should still be filled out, right? Because we will not have the time to ask you for a second submission at that time. So we'll be scoring it in the second stage, but you need to fill it out at the first stage, along with all the other information that should be sent in. And finally, put all the documents together in a single document, export to PDF, and upload for the application proposal. For the others, like the membership form, there are places for you to upload all that. Yeah, and for members, you have 2 documents to submit: the pack that contains the application proposal, CV, an external letter, and then the certificate of incorporation. I'll hand over to Kieran here to give the final general support.
Yeah, just wanted to sort of reiterate some of the things that Habib mentioned throughout the presentation. So the questions are essentially guidelines, so don't feel you need to answer all of them because some of them may not be relevant for you. We just need to have a general idea of what you are thinking about, and see that these questions that we've posted are just general support, just helping you think around that topic area. We accept any format. So if you want to write the proposal, that's fine. If you want to do it in presentation form, that's fine. If you're better with infographics and images, etc., and you want to present it in a different way, that's totally fine. We're just giving you the freedom and flexibility to sort of provide the information that we want in any mode that you feel comfortable in. And I know all of you have probably written proposals before, so if there was a specific format that you had to use previously, then and you just want to do a bit of a copy paste, because I know these presentations can be quite taxing, just go ahead. As long as you're following our general guidelines, we're pretty happy whatever medium you choose. The word limit is also a guideline, so we accept sort of 15% over and under. The reason that we've given you that word limit is because we're trying to keep it brief. We just want to see if you can articulate yourself in a very succinct way. So a lot of the times, you know, you don't need to write lots and lots and lots. We've given you sort of basic guidelines, but, you know, try to stick to that word limit. But we appreciate that sometimes you can't, so you can go over or under a little bit. Please sort of read the application pack well to ensure that you're eligible, and if you're unsure, just please get in touch. We also have a small sort of eligibility sort of calculator type thing on the website, so you can just click on that and it will take you through a series of questions to help you determine whether or not you're eligible. But yes, please do get in touch if you still have additional questions. As Habib said, there's no official application form, so you can make your own sort of outline in a document based on the topics and the guidelines that we've provided. Okay, so I think we are ready for sort of any questions. So if you want to either sort of drop something in the Q&A, go ahead, or if you want to sort of talk, please just raise your hand and we will unmute you. I can just quickly kick off. We had a really good question actually, but I couldn't answer in the Q&A because I think it requires a little bit more sort of understanding. So I think Aswa Naeem, you had asked if that you've tested elements of a bundle that you're offering teacher development, but you haven't tested the whole thing properly. Could you just quickly just explain a little bit more? So just tell me a little bit what you've tested and what you mean by the entire bundle, and then I can give a proper answer. Habib, could you just unmute her for me, please?
So nobody's raising their hand.
Aswa Naeem, she's
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, so thank you for the opportunity. So basically we have a school and we provide teacher training. Currently what we're trying to offer is a bundle service where we want to include different teaching resources like lesson plans, worksheets, along with our courses and workshops. So basically the thing is we've tested our workshops and our courses both on our platform, in our school and other schools, but we haven't tested this entire bundle as a whole. So I'm wondering if, since this is a new product or a new offering, does this qualify for the application?
Have you been able to demonstrate that individually all these different things improve learning outcomes? And
yes.
That you have, okay, yes, you can apply with that. So you haven't sort of tested it as a bundle together, but you've tested them individually. So the core values have been tested and it's demonstrated that it does improve learning outcomes. So yes, you can apply with that.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem. So I can see Justice Rising has just asked a question. For cost, should we include M&E costs? Yes, please. So anything that's related to delivering this initiative, please include the costs of that. Any other questions? Is everybody sort of clear in terms of eligibility, in terms of the process? Yep. Well, I guess if we don't have any additional questions, we could close the webinar and we will share. Oh, hello.
Should I go? I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. So our school runs under a foundation, but the Teacher Training Academy runs under a for-profit company. So I was wondering, would it be wiser to apply as a foundation or a for-profit company?
What does the for-profit company do?
Teacher training.
Teacher training, you can apply with that, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, because we obviously support the non-states, that is the for-profit. So you can apply with either, but we also support, so you would fit in the intermediaries category. So you're providing training, etc. for schools. Any other questions? No? Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we will close the webinar. It seems everybody's fairly clued up. We will share this presentation. And if you've got any questions, please do get in touch. Habib's and my email address is on the website. I will also, that will also come when we send out this webinar recording. But yes, if you need any support, any questions, just let us know. The application pack is fairly comprehensive, so do also refer to that. But yeah, we look forward to seeing your applications. Thank you very much.
Hello, could you hear me, please?
Oh, yes.
Sorry for being late. I had an issue with the ID meeting. So that's why I was very late to attend the meeting. Could I, if the meeting or the presentation of the meeting was recorded, could I get the recording presentation, please?
Yes, we will be sending out the recording today.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Should I end the meeting?
We'll just wait for everybody to leave.
Okay.
I can see that DGP has just entered the call. We've literally just run through the presentation, DGP, and we didn't have any questions. So we're going to close very soon unless you've got any specific questions right now. We will be sending out a recording of the webinar to everybody after we sort of close it. But do you have any specific questions that we can answer for you? We can unmute you. Okay, I can see there's a question from Emmanuel on a requirement to be a member. Yes, you have to be a member. So you would submit all the documents necessary for application to be a member with your proposal. So if you have a look at the checklist, I think it's on page 24 and 25 of the application pack. It details the documents that you need to put into your application to also apply for a member. And you apply through a different track. So if you go on the website, you'll see there's a button for apply as a member, apply as a non-member. You would click on the non-member button. Does that answer your question?
Hello. Could I also get a sample of a proposal, please, if it is possible to?
We don't have any sample proposals, but we have a very clear outline in the application pack. So if you go through the application pack, you'll see the topics that you must cover, and then we've given some sample questions that you can answer. So that should be helpful for you for developing that. But if you're still struggling, you can just drop us an email and we can help you where you're struggling.
Thank you.
No worries, DGP. We will share that recording with you. So I think we're going to close the webinar now, unless anybody has any final questions. Okay, great. Well, have a lovely day, and we very much look forward to your applications. Habib, you can close it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, you too.
Yeah, Emmanuel, you should definitely apply to be a GSF member along with your application. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.